Gaming computer for a 13-year-old. Needs to play Total War games. Needs to play potentially Call of Duty style games. So, these are the components that I've chosen for this particular customer. The CPU that's been chosen is an AMD Phenom 2 955 chip running at 3.2 GHz. This is a quad-core CPU. The motherboard is an MSI 760GM. Supports all the AMD CPUs, including the new FX CPU. So if this customer wants to upgrade in the future, they can do. There's going to be 8 GB of Corsair XMS3 memory in this computer, which should keep this customer going until he's married. There's a 1 TB Hitachi hard drive. Purchased the hard drive before the prices went through the roof a few weeks ago. The most important part of the gaming computer is the graphics card. We've got a GeForce GTX 560 graphics card. This should be able to handle any games that this customer wants to play. The case that I've chosen for this customer is a Cooler Master 334U Elite. It's a brand new case. The power supply I've chosen is a Corsair CX430, which is quite an efficient power supply and should be nice and reliable for him. We've got a standard optical drive, an LG DVD rewriter, and since this computer is going to be in the bedroom of this lad, then I'm putting in a wireless N PCI adapter to get him onto the internet. This is the case, the Cooler Master. The sides of the case are dead easy to take off, as my assistant will just show you now. Okay, this is the power supply. It goes in the bottom, so we just lay it in. It might be a little bit tight, but it should go in. And then on this side here, the screws should all line up. This shot shows the power supply installed and fitted. This is the motherboard we're going to install. We're going to need 6 riser screws. This is what they look like. And we need these so that the motherboard is not actually making contact with the side of the case, otherwise it will short out. This shows the riser screws installed into the case. There are 6 of these now installed. Here we go, there's a couple. And this is what the motherboard will be placed on. The next stage is to put the motherboard into the case, so it should just be a case of laying it on top and carefully lowering it down. Make sure you don't touch the actual circuit board, try and touch the actual edges. Once you've got all the screws in, the motherboard should be nice and secure. We just need to peel this off and be careful. There we go. And we're ready to put the CPU and the RAM in next. This is the CPU and the heatsink and fan that come with it. So this is the AMD quad-core chip with the pins on the bottom, and the heatsink and fan with the heat pipes and pre-applied thermal paste. The CPU has some notches on the bottom, as you can see in that shot there. You just need to line that up with the notches on these gaps here. You need to line them up with notches on the socket, and it should just go in nice and easily. Don't ever force it, it should just lay straight in, and then push this down and hook it under, and the CPU is installed. The heatsink and fan is now into position. I've hooked the metal clips over each side. All you need to do now to actually put it securely into position is pull this lever over until it clicks on the other side. Now this can be quite stiff, so you just need to apply a little bit of force to it. The last thing we need to do is just plug the heatsink and fan power supply in so that the actual fan will go around when we switch it on. It's a 4-pin connector, and we have a 4-pin connector here on the motherboard. So get the cable out of the way, make sure it's not blocking any of the fan, and plug it in. There we go. This is the DDR3 XMS 3 RAM that we're going to use. The sticks are 4 GB each in size, and they will go into these connectors here. Right, just push the plastic clips back before you try to put the memory in. You'll notice that there's a notch on the socket itself, and you can see it probably better on the actual memory. Line that up because the RAM will only go in a certain way, so we just plug it in and click it into position, and the second memory just plugs in exactly the same way. Now we won't be able to upgrade the memory in this computer without bigger memory modules, which are currently not available, so 8 GB should be more than enough for the next few years for the use of this computer. The next thing we're going to do is put the optical drive into the top bay of the case. Now the front of the case should just pull off if I just pull it at the bottom quite firmly, but also quite carefully. There we go. The optical drive then should just slide into position. Now I need to leave it quite loose at this stage because I need to, when I put the front back on in a moment, and I'll need to adjust exactly where it goes. We need to remove the front part of this case. So looking at the inside of this here, we should just be able to pull these back and it should come out. There we go. And then the front of the case should just clip back into position. At that point then, we can put the finishing touches on the positioning of the CD drive so that it is flush with the front of the rest of the case. Now I've moved one of these clips here and put it on the top to secure the optical drive into position. I'll do the same on the other side shortly. I've positioned the hard drive into one of the 3.5-inch drive bays inside the case, and we're going to use one of these clips just to secure it into position. There'll be one on each side by the time we're finished. That's one. That's how easy it is to put a hard drive in. I'll do one on the other side, and that'll be the hard drive. The next thing we're going to install is the graphics card. We need to take a couple of these back plates out to give the graphics card some room. Okay, the two back plates are out. I've placed the graphics card into position. We should just be a case of now clicking it down until it's secure and putting a couple of screws in the back here so that the graphics card doesn't move about like this. Okay, I've wired everything up into place, and although the cables need tidying up a little bit, the computer's ready to test to see if it works. Okay, I'm going to test now, see if the computer's working. I've connected it up to a basic keyboard and mouse and monitor, so I'm going to switch it on for the first time. Let's see if we light up on the monitor. Something's happening. There we go. See if we can get into the BIOS. Should probably be delete. No, missed it. But there we go. We've got a screen. That means the graphics card works, the CPU, the memory and the motherboard are all fine. This computer's ready to have Windows installation put onto it next.